Yes. Dr. Mindy in the house. All right.
I appreciate that.
The carnivore diet.
Because of what we eat.
Honestly, you've really touched my heart.
You go on a 3-day water fast. If you go on a 48-hour water fast, something a little bit longer, and your pancreas is getting rid of the insulin it doesn't need. If when you bring food back in, will there be a temporary appearance like glucose is high because of what you said, where that insulin system? Yeah. Okay. And how long does that last?
All the more reason to be careful with how you break your fast, which is why I'm always saying how you end a fast is much more important than how long you fast. So don't eat something that demands a dramatic insulin response for two reasons. One, for the reason we just described, which is you're not going to clear the glucose very well, kind of warm up the pancreas again. If you're going to get into carb heavy foods, start easy. But then second, this is very uncommon and virtually, I would say probably impossible, certainly unheard of in the order of like a 2 to even 3 day fast. But there is a phenomenon known as refeeding syndrome. Have you already talked about this with your audience?
No, but we talk about breaking fasts all the time and how important it is. So please.
Well, then this is worth taking a moment to explain. But it sort of follows along with that sentiment just from a moment ago, which is, you don't expect your pancreas to work too hard and expect it to produce insulin that you haven't been asking it to produce for the last 24 to 48 hours or 72 hours, because all it takes is about 16 hours of fasting for the beta cells to start scrapping their stored insulin. So this is a pretty quick phenomenon. But when insulin levels start to drop, which they do during a fast, the body starts to more rapidly, I want to make sure I explain this correctly, the body will start letting minerals go. It'll start letting electrolytes leave with the water from the blood. And this is why the person's blood pressure will tend to go down. Now, of course, if you're taking salt and water, this will help mitigate this phenomenon. But even still, insulin comes down, and as it is, the body's more rapidly dumping electrolytes in the urine. It's just a natural phenomenon. However, when you spike your insulin really dramatically, you start, not only are the kidneys still dumping some of the minerals, they don't get the message immediately. It takes them a few hours to start conserving minerals again. But what happens when insulin spikes is within seconds of insulin hitting the blood, it now starts pushing particularly potassium into cells. So as insulin's coming to cells, part of what it's pulling into the cell is potassium. And so the person can actually run the risk of developing hypokalemia or low blood potassium. And that is, in fact, a very lethal, it can kill you situation. Now, again, this is not common on the order of even 2 to 3 day fasts. It's usually, this was studied in very long, like week, 2 week type fasts under, strict kind of academic clinical supervision. But even still, it's nevertheless a reminder for us to not end a fast with an insulin spiking meal or snack, because not only is that going to be a challenge on the pancreas in that moment and make it harder for us to clear the glucose, and so we'll be hyperglycemic for longer, but two, we just start flirting with this potentially lethal imbalance in electrolytes.